All right, so this particular podcast is about
Motivation.
motivation, how to get motivated, and the implications. At least this is the spin that we're using here. The implications of how what you eat determines your motivation level. And well, I don't know if you want to start.
I just wanted to add, how you eat, how you take care of your body, your lifestyle, and how those factors all contribute into motivation, and how you stay motivated to whatever goal, physical, career, life goal you may have.
I have a paradox here. Actually, I want to address. It's kind of like a chicken and the egg paradox. What comes first, motivation or health? Motivation to get healthy, or healthiness promoting
Keeping
the
you
motivation?
motivated.
Exactly. What comes first? I personally believe you must first become healthy, and that allows you to become motivated.
I think we're talking about what kind of motivated we're referring to. So there's like inherent motivation for career goals, life goals, but what about the people who aren't healthy and use getting healthy as a motivation source?
Okay, so here's how I split it up. Okay, when I wrote this article on Medium recently, I said there are three spheres of life. You have your work sphere, right? Career path, job, whatever you want to call it. You have your sphere of health. This is your fitness, nutrition, sleeping patterns. And then you have your relationship sphere. This is your interpersonal relationships.
Okay.
And I said, of those three, which of the three is the most important? Which of the three determines the success or how far you could progress in the other ones? And to me, the answer is health, because if you're physically unhealthy in your interpersonal relationships, you're probably going to lose your patience. You're probably going to get angry. You're probably going to say things you don't want to say, and you're going to screw that up. And you know, the same is true for your career. I mean, your career is also interpersonal relationships, but now we're talking about making money in the mix. So even if your focus in life is to excel at your career, or to be a good husband or wife, or have really great relationships or contacts, you're required, at the most fundamental level, you're required to be physically healthy in order to even be able to reach those goals.
I got a spin on that.
Go for it.
So totally value everything you said. Working with people who are in more of a chronic state where, you know, the idea of getting healthy in order to access motivation is really difficult, because they've already tried to get healthy. A lot of these people with chronic conditions have seen specialists in a term to get healthy, but they get stuck because of allopathic medication, and they're kind of lost on this health journey per se. And I think it all comes down to a root chakra, this grounding effect that everybody needs in not only interpersonal relationships, specifically your family and personal relationships, but also career. Like, are you doing something on a daily basis that you enjoy doing versus going to work every day and hating your job? Those I find are very important in indicating how your health actually turns out or comes out, right? If you hate your job, if you have terrible interpersonal relationships, your health is going to suffer.
Absolutely. I'm still of the belief that you know, if you're not taking care of yourself physically. Okay, so here's my spin. All right.
I'm not saying your spin is wrong. Just adding in alternative angle.
Here's the way I look at it, okay?
Yeah.
No matter what the obstacles or the circumstances of your life, if you don't feel good emotionally, right? And what are emotions? To me, emotions are simply physical sensations.
They're chemicals, they're neuropeptides, based on how we perceive life's events, basically.
They're sensations moving through your body.
Yeah.
If you have a stomach ache, or you're bloated, you're gonna act in a way that exemplifies the fact that, hey, there's something going on with your stomach, that organ.
So you're saying emotionally someone will act out what's going on organ-wise?
Subconsciously. They're not going to be like, oh, you know, my stomach hurts, therefore I'm especially, cranky
emotional today?
Yeah. You know, if your liver's congested. And this goes back to traditional Chinese medicine, right? You know, there's an organ and there's an associated emotion with each organ.
Yep.
Liver being anger.
Yep.
The stomach having a lot to do with the ego, so self-worth, significance.
Yep. Feeling valued.
Feeling valued, you know.
Yeah.
The heart having to do with love and connection, having to do with grief.
Depression.
Yeah, and so now if you have anything going on in your body physiologically, and you know, a simple and prime example I like to use, and something that's really common is congested liver. Literally, Bile that is stagnant in the liver forms these things called intrahepatic gallstones, and they get stuck in the bile ducts of your liver. And for whatever reason, you're feeling these sensations of anger. Believe it or not, in traditional Chinese medicine, if you remove these gallstones, if you remove these things that are impeding the normal function of this organ of detoxification, you will feel less angry.
I think we need to take a step back
Sure.
with your explanation of that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't understand that there is a connection between organs and emotions. And, you know, he used anger as an example. And when it comes to all our different organ systems, we find these emotions associated in things like traditional Chinese medicine and other older holistic methodologies that we have. There's also a correlation between muscular systems or different muscles, reflexes, and organs. So we have to understand that not only can organs or organ symptomology cause emotions, but emotions can cause organ symptomology, which can also cause muscular dysfunction that I see often time and time again through physical therapy that I do with clients. So those are things to keep in mind when we're explaining things as we are.
Now, being practical, right? We're trying to give practical advice. What's the easiest to control, the emotion or the organ?
The organ.
The organ, right? No matter how you feel, you could cleanse your liver.
Yep.
Right? No matter how you feel, you can improve your digestion.
100%.
And so if someone's stuck in a situation in their life where they have these emotions of anxiety, again, and that's related to the stomach, by the way, or they have anger, or they have depression, or whatever it may be, you know, regardless of how you feel, you could follow protocols that allow you to clean up these specific organs and allow you to get rid of the negative emotion and allow the positive emotion to manifest. Motivation, staying on topic here.
I wouldn't say it's as easy as that, but
well, you know, long
story
story
short, the process.
Yeah, motivation is that. Motivation is just another state of being or another emotion.
I think another way to hammer that down is, you know, we have a organ causing a emotional issue. So we're talking about how we can just follow steps in order to cleanse an organ and actually create an emotional response, hopefully in a positive way. But with that being said, anyone who is unmotivated, you know, once you start following the steps and see progress and results in the direction that you want it to go, that in itself creates motivation and kind of starts this ball forward, correct?
Yeah. Okay, so this ties into belief systems.
Yes.
So on the one hand, at the bottom level, at the root chakra level, we have your physical self. And above that, in the leaves of the tree, you have your belief systems about what's going on.
Yep. Perspectives of life.
Yeah, and you know, the cause and effect could be going from down up or up down. Again, what is more likely to happen if you're in a physical state? And I know you're agreeing with me, by the way. If you're in a physical state where you don't feel well, that sensation, even if you will yourself to be motivated, you can be motivated. But as soon as you let go of that focus, which requires a lot of energy, as soon as you stop willing yourself to be motivated, your natural state will not be motivated. Right? So to fall into a natural state of motivation where it's just your state of being, that requires health. And, you know, yesterday...
Yes, to the level, to get to the level of state of being, as in just a naturally motivated state, I would completely agree that you have to be healthy to have that kind of motivation.
This is how I mapped it. Okay, there's 4 types of health: physical, you know this, emotional, mental, and spiritual health.
Yeah.
Well, and when we spoke about this in the last podcast we did, there the GMBM complex. The GMBM complex, your gut, your microbiome, your brain, and your mitochondria, are the systems that, when taken together, address the physical level of health. The physical level of health then begets or creates the emotional level, right? So, and this is what we were just talking about. Physically, I'm good. It allows the emotional health to flower, if you will. After the emotional, you have the mental. So the emotional health allows mental health to flower. Why? Because if you're feeling good, your perspective of what's going on in your life or in your world will be colored in a positive light, like wearing rose-colored glasses, right?
I'm not disagreeing with you. Okay.
You can if you want.
I'm just giving you a different spin. Okay.
Sure,
I'm not saying that what you're saying is wrong, because it's not. But so in the doctor program, we're talking about how we have a physical body, a vital body, a mental body, and a supramental body, right?
Okay.
And so in that ideology, physical or working on the physical level cannot perpetuate upwards in the sense that your physical, working on the physical body cannot in a way actually perpetuate into your vital, mental, and supramental level. Now, I believe that to a certain degree. I disagree with that to a certain degree because of the point that you just brought up, in the sense that if you are taking care of your organ health and your health in general, you'll be able to actually have some insights at the mental and emotional level or vital level. You know what I mean?
What is shaking right now?
It's your phone.
Oh.
And then that even more so being said, if you're working at the physical level, you can't actually get in tune to the supramental level. So the point of this being that, instead of focusing only on one body, I try to focus on clients on different bodies. So not only are we taking care of the physical body, but at the same time, we're working on that vital and mental space, more of like outlining the perspectives that they have, so they're aware of where they're mentally at, along with working on the physical body at the same time. And then supramental being spiritual. And when you're working at multiple layers, then you're getting this energy transfer between the layers.
How would you do that? Give me like a concrete example.
So physical body, liver, gallbladder, flush, colonics or enemas, something on a physical detox level, possible supplements, food intolerance test, diet change, basic stuff. When we're looking at a vital level, more of an energetic level, things like Tai Chi, meditation, yoga, things that slow the body down in terms of an energy flow practice is always good. And that's still only on that's still a physical level.
You're hitting it from both directions. Yeah, go on.
On a mental level, now we're looking at something like a landmark forum or a yoga teacher training, where we're actually doing more insightful questions, or what we did in HLC. More insightful questions as to our archetype, who are we, our upbringing, understanding how our paradigms and perspectives actually keep us where we are, right? And we're not at a point yet where we're going to see these perspectives and switch them right away. We're at a point where we're just outlining that we are aware to them and we have them as something to look out for in the future.
May I interject?
Yeah, of course.
So what you just, taking a course.
Yeah.
And through that course, challenging your belief systems.
Yeah.
If you're in that course, I'm challenging you now.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're in that course and you're sick, and the teacher's talking about some of the things you're talking about, can you hear it and can you embody that information?
To a certain degree, yes.
You did the course twice. You know what I'm talking about.
100%. And so
the first time it didn't work out. Why?
I don't want to say it didn't work out.
Well,
it got me to the level that it got me at.
Yeah.
Right. You could only take in and absorb information at the level that you're at. Right? This is where, someone may work with me for a 6-month coaching program and get so far, keep going on their own, and then in a year from now, we do it all over again, and it's a completely different coaching experience because they're at a different level. I did HLC 1, or HLC 3, sorry. I took what I took from it the first time when we did it, and then 3 years later, I did it again because I knew that I had embodied what I learned 3 years previous, and there was so much information in that course, I had to retake it to get pretty much the second half of the course to layer on the first. You know what I mean?
How much of that ability or capacity to perceive the information do you think is rooted in your physical state in that moment in time?
In the course, you're saying?
Well, and when you're receiving any new information or any new philosophy, how much, like right now, you're more into yoga, right? Before you were much more of a bodybuilder. You had an extra 20, 30 pounds of muscle, 40 pounds of muscle on you, right? How much of the fact that you are pursuing certain lifestyle processes like weightlifting and
100%. My perspective, my goggles were on more of the performance, holistic lifestyle coaching on a physical level, optimization, health optimization. Then where I came at it from the second time, where I was actually looking for spiritual growth, energetic growth, personal paradigms and awarenesses and how to work with those ideologies. So in that period, there was a perspective switch. And I would completely agree that my health state was different the first time than the second time. Actually, the second time, me being in more of a depressive state, to be honest, than the first time.
So it was different.
Yes.
Are you more optimal now, health-wise? Optimal. Remember,
because of the course?
No, because of what you've changed physically in your body, right? You're
100%.
yeah. So you made physical changes.
Yeah, I think if I was eating crap or in the frequency that I was or the lifestyle that I had,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be as aware or as motivated to life goals as before because I just wouldn't have the energy.
I'll tell you,
I'd be too tired.
energy, right? Yeah. So motivation is a form of energy, right? A lot of these.
I think you need energy in order to have motivation because you can't.
Yeah, because you're producing it in your brain, in your body chemistry, in your gut, right? And so for me, everything that we're talking about is predicated by this idea that, hey, does your machine produce enough energy through normal physiological processes? Does your machine digest, absorb, sleep well, move correctly enough?
Let's just say it in English. Does your body produce enough energy to?
Does your body produce enough energy to create a state of motivation?
Yeah.
Right. That's the underlying principle for me. Got any questions over there?
I'm checking. No, we're good. No questions.
So, what are some things you do to get motivated at a fundamental level?
At a fundamental level.
And
Are we
yeah,
talking about in life, a project?
Well, let's go through it physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. What do you do to get motivated physically? What's a physical practice you have?
Okay, so let's use, the example of launching a video series because that's something I want to work on. So on a physical level, I obviously got to know I have to be sleeping and I got to be taking care of myself diet and nutritionally. Lifestyle-wise, nutritionally, if I'm not on point when it comes to that, there's no way I'm going to have the energy or the brain capacity to focus. I actually find that intermittent fasting helps me focus the most because it keeps my brain clean and clear, so I can get work done in the mornings.
What about like getting into state? Do you do any kind of like Tony Robbins stuff?
No, I find my routine is wake up, have some coffee in the morning, my organo coffee, low in caffeine,
Okay.
my mushroom blend, and I can actually get most of my work done until I eat around midday on a physical level. Meditation in the morning or reading just helps me. You can call that my flow state. What I do, I'm more of an energetic, vital level, manifesting what it is that I'm trying to do in terms of my goal. And then obviously having a game plan, like knowing what it is that my goal is today to get done for the bigger plan or the bigger goal. Launching a video series, there's a lot of steps. Losing 50 pounds, there's a lot of steps. Getting a back squat of 500 pounds, there's a lot of steps. And they're all different steps that you need to create in that specific goal, but you need to have a breakdown. You got to have, if not a weekly breakdown, a daily breakdown, depending on what the task is that you're doing, so that you can correlate all of that together.
There's a great tool I use. It's called Productivity Planner. Have you heard of this?
I haven't used it, but I've heard of it. Yeah.
I got two of them over there. I've been using it for years. Okay. I don't use it all the time. I use it when I'm in a situation where I do feel like the task I have to accomplish is monumental, and I break it down.
You reverse engineer.
I reverse engineer, here's my end goal, and I break it down into days, and I bite it off in chunks. That in and of itself is motivating because if you accomplish little things in sequence over time...
I must say, like for my daily tasks, I literally have a to-do list. It's on your wall. I literally have a to-do list every single day that, honestly, it doesn't end. It just continues to go. But every day I have specific things I want to get done, cross it off, and I know I've accomplished something for the day. It's funny, we were chatting about, obviously I work with clients, but then I have these like back-end projects that are still for clients, but I need to work with clients to make money. Yeah. And, I could have a 6-7 client day, and I kind of feel unmotivated to a certain degree, unaccomplished because my real goal is the video series and working towards that.
Yeah.
So a day where I make no money and get a bunch of work done on my project is much more satisfying.
Yeah,
so it's this odd dynamic of what the goal is versus income.
Yeah, if you're you know what? Okay, so you're touching on the idea of moving towards your legacy.
Yeah.
Having a clearly defined goal, having a legacy mapped out. And a way to define legacy is...
how would you explain what that is to people?
Well, legacy is simple. You're on your deathbed and you look back and you say, I did what I was supposed to do with my life. That's your legacy.
You can explain that as like an archetype in a way.
Yeah, it's
sole
what
purpose.
lives on beyond your physical existence, So for myself personally, Adam Farr, right, I say to myself, okay, my legacy is about sharing the information I've accumulated over a lifetime. Now it's been 15 years, but it's going to be 30, 40, 50 years at some point. And taking all that information condensing it into a system that's practical and sustainable and usable, and immortalizing that on paper, books, videos, DVDs, media. We're doing some of it right now, right? We're in the beginning stages. This is us practicing that, right?
Yeah. Practicing for the future.
And so one of the things that motivates me is that very clearly defined image of my future self, saying, okay, you know, who am I going to be in 20 years? I know exactly what that guy looks like. I know how much money he makes. I know what kind of physical condition he's in. I know what kind of people are around him.
So this is like goal setting to a certain degree, if we're going to break it down into layman terms.
Well, this is the end goal.
Yes.
It's the end goal. It's the big picture goal. It's like, this is who I am in the future. And you might not even be able to clearly describe it, but there's a sensation there.
So for people who have been in maybe a 9-to-5 type of job, they're working because they get a paycheck, social norms per se. And here we are talking legacy, doing something for free that makes us no money, but we love to do it anyways.
Yeah.
And so we do it. So how do people get to that point of our legacy, like their legacy? How do they get there?
Look, I'm 15 years in. It's bit by bit, right? If you're at a point in your life where you're working a job you don't want to work, but you have a family to take care of, you have bills to take care of, and you're kind of, somewhat trapped. I mean, I don't want to use that word because you don't have to be negative about it. But
it's not trapped. It's a means to an end. Someone can have a legacy or a purpose of taking care and providing for the family.
Yeah.
Right? So we don't want to disregard that. What we want to regard is this means to an end, and just having an end goal to the point that, as you're talking about, you're on your deathbed and you feel like you didn't waste your entire life.
Look, if you're being honest with yourself and your goal is to just provide for the family and be a good mother or father and that's it, fine. But that's if you're being honest with yourself. If you do want more, you have to say, okay, break down your day to 24 hours.
Yeah.
And
the legacy doesn't always have to be related to finance. Let's say that, right?
Absolutely not.
Like we may our legacy.
Not for me.
Our legacy. Or my legacy.
Ours is educational.
My legacy is I want to teach people to be their own doctor, right?
Yeah.
And I've turned that into a money source and a legacy as well. But some people's legacy are their hobbies, and they work for their income. You know what I mean? They put the two together.
Hold that. Okay, so you have 24 hours in a day.
Yes,
right?
we do.
And
I wish it was longer sometimes.
Yeah, well, it doesn't have to be, right? How you manage your time is a big part of this whole goal achievement thing. So you break down your 24 hours. And, you're going to do this multiple times. You break it down and you say, where am I doing non-essential tasks? What is my main goal? What is my purpose? And you say, well, what am I doing that doesn't directly contribute to that? And you remove it. All right. Now, and you don't want to make an excuse to yourself and say that everything is essential. You're kidding yourself. There's all kinds of stuff that isn't essential.
You mean like being busy?
Yeah, being busy without being productive, right? You don't want to be busy. You want to be productive.
So how do people know what is productive versus non-productive?
Well, it's producing something, right? You're at the end of the week or the month, there's something different in your life. Things are evolving.
Towards their legacy or...
Towards their legacy.
Health, anything regarding towards their legacy.
Well, I think the legacy encompasses health,
all aspects
wealth,
that we talked about,
and relationships. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And again, we're trying to bring this full circle to the idea of motivation, right? You have to be motivated to do this, but if you're not sitting down and making a plan, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, quite simply. Yeah. And I could think of many, many times where I've sat down at my kitchen table and I just wrote out how my day is going to go. And then I go the next day and I attempt it, and I realize it doesn't work, and I scrap it, and I do it again and again and again.
Yeah, the to-do list you wish to get done, and you just fail.
Yeah, because I'd make it too big, right? And then, there's books that I've read, like The One Thing, Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. These are great books to read because they tell you how to focus in and zone in on 1 or 2 or 3 simple things to do every day, and master that, specialize in that. Don't try to be everything, try to be one thing.
Yeah, we talked about it as in IIN, Institute of Integrative Nutrition, as big stones versus little stones.
Yeah.
And we often like to move the little stones because they're really easy to get done, which is what we're talking about in terms of being busy, right? This busyness versus
tasks.
being productive. Yeah.
Little tasks.
All little tasks. And then we have our big stones, which are the harder guys that we want to get done, but are unfortunately difficult to do.
Like filming 30 podcasts.
Like doing 30 podcasts.
That's going to take a while.
We got to do what we got to do on this
it's a big
Saturday
stone.
evening.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, little stones, big stones. I think that's a good differentiator for people to know between, being busy, small tasks, quick tasks, but aren't productive. And then we have our productive, our big stones that get us forward towards our legacy, our goal at the end of the week, our goal at the end of the month, moving you forward into that that new realm, per se, that you want to be in.
Earlier today, I was telling you how I listened to motivational speeches.
Yeah.
You ever listen to Les Brown?
No. Heard the name.
Check him out on YouTube. And he's a bit of a preacher guy. But listening to people or getting pumped up with motivational speeches from things like YouTube and whatnot, that's an emotional tool that you could use to help you get motivated.
Yeah, I would say I used to do that.
I still do it.
I don't really do it anymore as much.
It's something I keep on moving back to because I'd rather not listen to the radio, right?
Yeah, that's
I
true.
do not want to fill my mind.
I find that if I use more of like and you were doing it too the other day, more of like a meditative trance. I use some
Music.
Yeah, I use meditation music. A lot of like tribal music in a way.
Yeah.
It's very flow-like. Remember we were using.
But that'll get you in a flow state.
Yeah, so it gets me into a flow state where I can focus on what I got to do. Versus motivation. Sometimes I get caught up in the words. No, I'm not saying they're bad. Just my perspective.
Yeah.
You just get caught up in the words, and to me, I get distracted at a certain level, and so I try to keep things non-lyrical, which is why we like regular music to begin with, because it's very distracting.
I do both.
To each their own.
Well, this is okay. So in the last 4 years, I barely listened to the radio at all. I only listen to audiobooks. There's a monk, I think his name is Thich Nhat Hanh. He says, "Be careful what you consume. You don't just consume with your mouth. You consume with your eyes, with your ears, with your emotions, right? With your interactions with people.
Energetically,
all these things can drain you, right? Yeah. And so if you want to be motivated to reach further, if everyone is draining you, if everything in your environment
I think it just goes to a level of memetics. Right, and the study of memetics and how you're being programmed subconsciously. We watch these commercials. We watch these commercials on TV, on radio, everything
that
like
programmed
that.
You. Yeah,
you're listening to this subconsciously. You think you're not, but like your subconscious brain is programming so many bits of information you couldn't comprehend it all coming at you at once. And you go to this place, you go to that store, you see that product, you hear the name of this fast food restaurant on the radio, and then boom. There you are, right?
Subconsciously,
subconscious programming. So being aware of what you're consuming and the people you're around and the energies you're around, you have to be aware that you're compiling all that information. It's literally programming your decisions.
It's a principle of brainwashing. It just so happens that I have a book right here to recommend for you. It's called The True Believer.
People can see that.
It's literally about how brainwashing.
Backwards.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
You could show it to my camera as well over there.
Here, this camera.
If you repeat something often enough, and even if it's something as simple as watching a TV series or being exposed to those commercials that come while you're watching the series or the movie or whatever it may be, or the radio, whether you think you're absorbing it or not, your brain is designed to absorb information
and process
it. And it'll store it away somewhere. And it's going to be a neural pathway, a neural connection somewhere in your brain at some point. And it will color your experience and your perception of things. Most of the messages in media are negative. Negative emotions drain the energy out of you. So if you get a handle on what kind of media you consume.
Yeah, so I think to bring it right back, the conversation of motivational speaking. That just puts you in the right mindset of achieving a goal, achieving your goal, your legacy, your dream.
It's guaranteed good feelings,
going through whatever dark, hard places you may be stuck in that path to your goal or legacy. We have to be aware that motivational speaking in terms of videos and songs would be great for that. So on the topic of motivation, we have health. We have motivational songs.
Keep talking, yeah.
We talked energetically on a vibrational level. We talked in terms of having a legacy or dream or goal. Mm-hmm. Any other pieces that we're missing here?
I wrote over here, what's the point of being motivated if I can't achieve success?
I think the term can't achieve success is a relative term based on the goal potentially.
Well, I mean, you know, you're motivated,
Yeah.
right? Every day you're listening to these tapes, right? You're pumping yourself up, but day by day, week by week, nothing's really changing. You're not making headway, right? So is motivation in and of itself
No, that
the goal?
situation would be creating something, would be unmotivating.
Well, I mean, yes, but I'm saying, but you're getting into a motivational state, because
Okay.
motivation is a state of being, right?
Yeah.
But you're not achieving what you want to achieve.
Okay.
And so motivation, saying, oh, I'm not motivated, you know, that's one part of the problem, or one side of the coin. But the other side of the coin is you're not clear on what the motivation is to be used for, right? All that motivational energy, what are you doing with it, and where are you directing it? And this goes back to the idea of legacy and goal. So if you get clear on your goal, if you get clear on your legacy, and
that allows you to use that motivation to focus on the big stones versus the little stones to move you forward.
yeah, because motivation is just a form of energy that
Yep.
you cultivate physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually.
I think that's it.
I think I've said everything I wanted to say.
Yeah, I think that's good.